All right, let's see. So let's actually start with authentication. And I think it'd be a good idea to just set up the auth module and the controllers and all of that, rather than dealing with the data first, just so we can have some feedback. So just gonna look around for a little bit, and okay. So actually I'm gonna copy this really quick. And let's start using the Nest CLI to generate some modules for auth. So I'm going to do nest generate module auth, and after that we're going to generate the services as well as the controller. Okay, so once that's done, I'm actually going to get rid of the test. So source auth r.spec.ts, just so it's a little cleaner that we can work with. And in the service, I'm just gonna have a private variable here, mock user equals. So the point of creating the module and as well as the controller is that we're mainly gonna work with the controller, but we're gonna mock out the endpoints before we start adding the database connection and the entities, just so we know what we're expecting. And if we go down, authentications is going to be under the endpoint of /users, and login is going to be /login, whereas registration is going to be at the root route. And both of them are going to be post requests, so we can start with that. And then the data that we're sending in, this is going to be the representation that we're going to turn into our data transfer objects. You'll notice that a login does not need username, whereas registration does. So we'll start with that. So first thing we want to do is change the endpoint from auth to users with an S. Oh, an important distinction to mention is that auth is /users, whereas profile is going to be /user, which is singular. So it's an important distinction. And we have two routes here. So the first one is going to be post at the root, and this is going to be register. And the other one is going to be post for login, and post is going to be at /login, I believe. Alright, so that's going to be our routes. We're not returning anything yet, and that's because we're going to want to call in our service. So we're just going to use dependency injection and add that in. And this is going to be private auth service, and we're calling in the auth service. And we're just going to keep it simple and just do and what was it? We're gonna name these the same as the routes. So register, and it's gonna want to take in the thing. It's red right now because we haven't defined it, but we're gonna do that in a bit. So auth service dot login, and we can start to adding these methods into our service now. So this is gonna be register and login, and we're gonna just yeah, for register right now I'm just gonna return a mock user, so basically anything will go through. Login's gonna be a little different. We're actually gonna check the body that we get in. So I'm gonna call this credentials. We'll add in validation in a little bit, but we're gonna just do an if. Let's see, credentials dot. I'm gonna do it. Call it any for now. Credentials dot email is equal to this dot mock user dot email. Then we'll return the mock user. Otherwise, we'll throw an internal server error, internal server error exception, and make sure to use the new keyword. And we can test this out in Postman now. Wait, this thing's still red. Oh, so this is gonna be expecting credentials. So, and both of these we're gonna be expecting to send in a body. So I'm gonna do body, which comes from NestJS, and both of them I'm gonna call as credentials. Body credentials. So we're gonna start the server now. Start dev, and we're gonna jump into Postman and go to /users and make sure this works. So I already have a query up. It's gonna be username is username and email is email and password is password. So send, and we get cannot. Oh, this is because it's, well, I should probably just show you. It's expecting the route to be /users at the root, and we haven't added the API prefix. So that is also strange. Oh, that's because I'm not returning the response. So we get the body back. I'm also gonna just quickly copy this and add this to our email here. So we can go to /login, and that should give us the same thing. As well as if this was the wrong email, we should get an error. All right. So I'm gonna make sure that we add the prefix of API and make sure we get that correctly. And that's simple. We just go to our entry file, the main.ts, and we're gonna add one method call here. It's gonna be app.useGlobal. Wait, is it? It's not use. It's set global prefix of API. So if we just do a send again, we should get the correct error. Or let's just try registering. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do now is add authentication, because we could basically send in anything. I should probably demo that. So let's do that. So we could send in any data, and I'll just send in an empty object, and we'll still get a response. So we actually want to add validation so that you have to send in a request in a certain format, and that's when we start needing our data transfer objects. So let's go back in here. Let's add in a models directory. So I'm going to do not touch, make directory source models, And I'm gonna create a source models user.dto.ts file. Did I put that in the right place? Yeah, I did. Alright. I'm forgetting something, aren't I? What am I forgetting? Oh, we need the validators. So that is... What was that thing called? Class validator. Okay. So let's make sure we install that. So it's gonna be yarn add. We're gonna want class validator as well as class transformer, and that let that run. And while that's running, we could add a little import here from class validator, and that'll resolve itself eventually. And we want to make two data transfer objects. So the first one is going to be, let's make sure we export these. Class, and this is going to be, let's start with registration actually. Registration DTO. And we also want a class of login DTO. Let's quickly remind us which one's which. So, what? Oh, so registration is the one with email and username. So, I'm actually gonna do this. So we'll do login first, and it has password is a string, and email is a string as well. Whereas registration also needs the username. And we just make it extends, so inheritance of login DTO, and that'll make sure that it'll have the properties of both email and password coming from the login. Let me double check. Login is, yeah, that's correct. All right, and from the class validators, we're just gonna, where did that thing go? We're gonna add some stuff. We need things, or we need required. So is required. Is it not called is required? That's weird. Well, I know this one's gonna be is email, and I need parens here, I believe. And I don't think I need is string, do I? Nah. I think that's good. Well, actually, let me check here. Do they need length for these things? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. All right, so yeah, the email has to be an email. I don't think it'll hurt. So I'm gonna add is string here, and we're gonna do a min length of 4, and password, I don't want that. Is string and min length of 4, max length. Actually, emails could be pretty long. Let's just add that here. The string min length is 4, max length is gonna be let's go with 20, and let's get rid of this. I think that should be good. And then we'll add that to our controller and make sure that it's the correct type. So this is the register login, register DTO that we need to import. So from / models user DTO does not pick it up. Registration. I don't like that. I call this register. What the hell? Weird. Alright, and this is gonna be login DTO, and then we should also add these types to the service. So we'll change this to login DTO, credentials, register DTO. And there's one last step that we need to do to make sure that these validations work, and that's going to be use, and it's a pipe, I believe, validation pipe. Let's add that here too. Use pipes, validation pipe, and let's see, is that all I need? I put it in the wrong place, damn it. Okay. So it's gonna be actually here, because we're validating the credentials from the body, not from the request. Actually, I don't know what that means. I will find out eventually. So now we can test this out and see if our application actually checks our validation. So start dev. And this should throw an error because we're not providing anything. Send. And we have a bad request. Property is username and email and password. So let's add that in. Username. Password is going to be password. And email is going to be email. And that should also give us error because email is in the wrong format. And an email must be an email. That's okay, I guess. So we'll do @email.com, and that should send us right through to the request. And I'm gonna copy Jake at jake.jake and paste that here. So then we could log in. So we have proper validation now. If we get rid of username, I think this should still go through. Yeah. So, a little odd. But let's see if I add another property. Prop. Will that still go through? Oh, I guess it does. Weird. At least we're validating that we're getting the, oops. Let's check if I don't have a password. Nope, that's correct. So at least we're validating that we need the properties that are required, and some extra properties are, I guess it's okay. So we have min length and is string, so both of those are good. And yeah, so our controller is set up. In the next video, we're gonna actually hook up to real data that we're gonna populate our database with. And maybe we'll do authentication. Those two are definitely the next steps. I'm gonna figure out which one we're gonna do first. But I'll see you guys next time.